Hello. Thank you so much for joining me for this yoga session. Hopefully you're taking care of yourself, you're staying safe, and I encourage you to do that as we move through this class. Remember, I am just offering up suggestions. You never have to take my suggestions if they don't serve you. Make sure you've got stuff to support you like yoga blocks and a blanket, and you've got something to drink to keep yourself hydrated. And let yourself settle in on your breath, taking time to unhook from everything that's going on and just be with your breath. Letting that breath get fuller and deeper. Helping to keep you anchored in the present moment, knowing that you're practicing this. How you get good at this is if you practice it. So taking time to intentionally come to the breath, come to what is going on with yourself right here, right now. And you are cultivating that witness, observer mind. You're setting aside the judge, and you're just being the witness. And you're also treating yourself with kindness, compassion, and love. That is another thing that if you don't find it very easy to do, or you're not used to doing it, practice it while you're on your yoga mat. It's a safe place. You are grounding in yourself, learning to trust yourself, knowing that you are the true teacher, mother, father of yourself. Breathing however feels comfortable, whether it be through your nose or your mouth or a combination. Let that breath start to become that three-part yoga breath where you fill up the lower third, then the middle third, then the upper third, and then you release fully upper, middle, lower. The breath starts and then builds up, and then you release from up down to the navel. Is where you can bring your awareness at the beginning and end of that breath. As you inhale, press that navel into that space in front of you, and then feel the ribs move up and apart, and then feel that heart move up in that chest. And then when you exhale, the heart and chest relax down, the ribs move down and together, and then you pull that navel back and up into your body. And then you let the inhale happen again, filling up navel, ribs, chest. Exhaling fully, chest, ribs, navel. You're the one that's responsible or in charge of however much engagement you give. The more engagement you give, the more you can stay connected. And then you're also aware if you're keeping yourself safe, like if your toes and feet start to be tingly at any time, make sure that you move around so that, and it's gently move around. Take care of yourself. Press yourself down into your mat. Feel that connection to the floor, the building, the ground, the building's built into, and then the world that connects us all. So think about engagement, or actively bring a squeeze to your glutes, press your knees away, flex your feet, and really try to press down with the part of your body that's closest to the floor so you feel that support, that groundedness, that anchoring in, and notice how it's coming from within. And then on your next exhale, not only are you anchoring and grounding, but you are also rising and lifting yourself up into that space around you. Stretch yourself. Take up all that space that you are meant to take up. And so you think about engagement, or you actively press the crown of the head, tops of the ears, a little bit closer to the sky. Feel the heart lift and that gentle pressure on the tops of your shoulders. Those blades gently come down and tuck in. They're not squeezed together. They're active and engaged. So both girdles engage, front body lifting, back body supporting. You're doing both at the same time. You're grounding and you're lifting. Find that balance of both. Stay connected to that present moment. Let your breath be full and deep, navel, ribs, chest. Exhaling fully, chest, ribs, navel. At any time, let any engagement go. If it's too much or you're ready to let it go, hands can make their way to your heart. Take a few breaths to set any personal intention you might be working towards or on. And then together we're going to inhale and sweep, gather up all that good juju, pull it down into your heart center. Try to keep those girdles engaged. So you're keeping the shoulder girdle active, you're keeping the hip girdle active, even in the seated position, always trying to lift the front body and ground the back body. Couple more, really letting yourself lift and reach. And then pause. Let yourself completely unwind from that seated position. Let those feet be on the floor. Your knees are bent. You're in charge of however close you want. You're going to feel a different sensation if they're this close compared to if they're this close, right? So and play around with that. Find what works for you in your body, and then find yourself back in your seat. If you had your legs really crossed up near you, maybe do the opposite leg near you. And you don't have to have them super tight up against your body. In fact, if they're a little bit wider, you get a bigger base, and then that means you're more supported, which is always a good thing. So you might want some blocks in front. We're hinging with that bent knee, bent leg, coming forward into that reach. Keep trying to press your glutes, your lower body, your back body down into the mat, and then lift and reach your front body, your upper body out of that base. Use activation in your legs, use activation in those girdles in order to help keep you supported, breathing full and deep, navel, ribs, chest. Exhaling fully, chest, ribs, navel. And then make sure you've got room. You're going to walk over a little bit to the right. Keep that left glute, that left knee on the ground. Only move over. You don't have to have your chest all the way down on that leg, but challenge yourself to find that stretch in that side body. Keep those girdles engaged, breathing full and deep. And then bring yourself back through center to move to the other side. Keep that opposite glute, that opposite lower body, that opposite back body. Keep that pressing down, and then you are reaching and lifting and reaching to the left, using your arms just to get that nice stretch to activate in your whole trunk. Try to keep engaging those girdles so you're always lifting front, pulling down, back, inhale and exhale. Coming back through center, taking your time to come up, and then here's where you let go. And so you let go of the engagement, and then do your little knee windshield wiper thing again, just to have a little reset. Notice how your body is feeling, breathing full and deep. And then just back into a nice comfortable seated position. Once again, it doesn't matter how close your legs are. They don't have to be super close in. You are always trying to protect yourself. Still trying to find that support by dropping that tail, lifting that front body. So you're lifting that pubic bone up into that navel. That navel's coming up right underneath that chest, and that chest coming right underneath that chin. And then, I forgot what I was going to have us do. Oh, I know. We're going to just stretch the shoulders. So keep those shoulders engaged. Don't hurt your elbows. Reach out to the side. So feel yourself engage that girdle. Stay with that girdle engagement. My right arm is coming up. My left arm is coming down. And then I'm going to bend my elbows and pop my right elbow into my left elbow and bring the palms of my hands together. It can also be backs of hands. It can also be hands to your shoulders, breathing full and deep. Keep lifting yourself. Keep lifting those elbows. Really stretch yourself. Remember to protect your low back by keeping that girdle engaged and then staying with that hinge, staying with that engagement. Let yourself come forward into that hanging knot. Remember, you're in charge of your legs. So at any time, if you need to make arrangements in order to feel more comfortable, make sure you do that. Breathing full and deep. Navel, ribs, chest, exhaling fully, chest, ribs, navel. So let yourself lift up and then let that right arm come off of that left arm. Take a moment, notice how you feel, just letting yourself be and breathe in the space. Here's where you're becoming aware and observing. You are not judging, at least not harshly. You are showing kindness, compassion, and love. And then, same thing, keep those girdles engaged. So the whole front body lifts up, whole back body presses down. Keep those shoulders out of the ears. Let those arms reach wide. Stay with that engagement. The right arm comes down, the left arm reaches up, and then I'm bending the elbows to bring those palms together, but I don't want you to strain, so you can always just bring the backs of your hands. They don't even have to touch. Or you bring the hands to the shoulders. It really doesn't matter as long as you are protecting yourself. Inhale and exhale, and then let yourself hinge forward into that hanging knot position. Staying with that breath. Try to keep lengthening your neck out of your body, keeping those shoulders pulled out of your ears. Inhale and exhale. It's this really weird sensation of, like I keep describing, lifting and pressing down all at the same time, no matter what position you're in. All right, let go and then let go. Totally noticing how you're feeling. Making sure that you are hydrating, taking a drink if you need it. And then finding yourself around on those hands and knees to come back into your child. Make sure that you protect those knees. We're going to be on our knees for a little bit. I like to do stuff on our knees because it's so important. And it helps to build up that body awareness. So make sure that you are protecting yourself and you are coming into your child. Even though this is a resting posture, it is still active. So you still need to keep your girdles engaged. You walk your knees as wide apart as feels good. If you feel a little pinch at where you hinge, that's what you're supposed to. And then if you want to add a little bit more to the stretch, when you're reaching forward, you're engaging your girdle, pulling that heart up, pulling those blades down, really trying to get those sockets engaged, breathing full and deep, using the blocks or not. The blocks add a whole nother level that you need to protect your neck. You're never straining. Inhaling and exhaling, staying with your breath. And I know I talk about the front body, but you breathe three-dimensionally, so you're filling up. Think about trying to fill up those lungs, not just to the front of your body, but to the back and the side. So feel the low back kind of blow up with that first inhale where you press the navel forward, press the low back up to the sky, and the side back, the sides right above the hips to
east and west. And then feel your ribs, not just the front, but the back and the sides. And then your heart lifts. Shoulder blades still stay engaged to help keep everything lined up. And then let yourself exhale. Heart, ribs, navel. And then lift yourself up into your table, taking time to bring those hands underneath those shoulders. Knees come underneath those hips. So you are holding yourself in your table. This is where you do a little pelvic tilt in order to find that place of engagement of your lower girdle, so that low back goes on vacation, and that is that pulling up of that pubic bone into that navel into chest. So you're engaged, and then your upper body is engaged, and you pull those shoulder blades together and then apart, letting those elbows bend out to the side, and then press through, so you've got that nice engaged upper and lower back, and then your cat and cow is in the very middle. Breathing full and deep, navel, ribs, chest. Exhaling fully, chest, ribs, navel. Really scoop that belly out as you press evenly into your arms and your legs. Try to bring awareness there. As you come up into that cat, you come into that cow, sway that middle back. And so the stretch is right above, right? It's right below. It's like that. It's that solar plexus area. Right there underneath your sternum. Breathing full and deep. Couple more. Really let that spine undulate. Try to feel the epicenter there in the middle, like it's whipping to both the spine, or up to the head and then down to the behind. And then find yourself in neutral position to press yourself back to rest completely in your child. That cat and cow and that holding yourself in table can still be a strain on your wrists and your fingers, so you're always being really gentle. You're never being harsh with those delicate joints. The fingers, the wrists, the elbows are very delicate. That goes for the toes. The ankles, the knees are very delicate. And so your yoga helps you to put the weight of how you hold yourself and how you do things in your body. So you start to do that. So you start to hold yourself in your trunk and not out in with just your limbs, and you're always protecting yourself. Inhaling, at least that's what it did for me. All right, and that's what I keep trying to impart to all of my yoga classes. It's all about that body awareness, becoming aware of where your body is in space. And so make sure you're not going to kick anything. Send that left leg back into that beginning of that spinal balance. So you're pressing through that heel. That kneecap is pulled up into your thigh. Your pelvis, that lower girdle is engaged. You're keeping those girdles engaged. You're staying lifted up off that left arm. So lift yourself. Keep up off that arm. Keep that shoulder engaged. Keep left shoulder and right shoulder in the same plane as you lift that right arm. Only if it feels good, because if you're like, I'd rather not, I'd rather just press back, because that's a lot of engagement for pressing back, and it is. Inhaling, you should be doing all of that engagement while you're in this table. Feel it. Keep trying to bring that hip even, that left hip and that right hip even. All right, now bring that right arm down and then bend that left knee and then pull it towards that left arm. Stay lifted up off those, up off your arms. Don't get too close down to, don't like bend into that right elbow. And your left knee and your right foot, or your left knee and your left foot are in the same plane. So pay attention. Is your leg like this? Is your leg like this? Try to keep it I know. It's like, ooh, that burns. I know. Press it back and then let the toes come down over to the right. So you're getting this nice side stretch. Hopefully you can see what I'm doing as you press down evenly into both hands, both arms, then gently look over that right shoulder. Keep that left, so your navel coming down to the floor, and then feel that stretch down the outside of that glute, and then also in that oblique, and then bring that left leg down to rest completely in your child, having that reset posture, making sure that you're protecting your joints by gently winding them, never being harsh. Inhaling and exhaling, staying with your breath, taking breaks whenever you need to. I didn't show you, but blocks are also great here to help keep you lifted. All right, same thing, other side. Press that right heel back. Try to keep those toes pointed down. Breathing full and deep. It takes a lot of awareness to keep that low back, not getting into too much work here. You want to try to give it a vacation, so you're putting the weight in the glute. You're building up that awareness and that strength, and you're lifting that opposite limb, keeping those shoulders in that same plane, only if it serves you. Inhale and exhale. So you should not feel this in your low back. So if you do, trying to think what would probably be the best. Maybe bring the foot down so you can feel it, get into your glute, and then let the foot float. That's probably the best way. All right, bring that left arm down and then bring that right arm over. Keep trying to keep that nice engaged girdle. Pay attention to where that knee and that foot is. Just breathe here for a few more breaths. It's really awkward. But your right glute and your left glute are doing two separate things, and they are getting stronger. And then you're going to press back and then let them come over to the left. Keep your navel pointing down as you stretch away, pressing those right balls and toes down on the left side as you look over that left shoulder. And then you make your way down to your child, resting completely. Make sure you're taking care of yourself, drinking whatever you need. Breathing full and deep. And then back to table. You're in charge of your downward dog. If you don't want to come into downward dog, you don't have to. It is a big stretch. Come only up as long as feels good. Put it all in your trunk. Try to find the balls of your hands and the balls of your feet as being the ones that are like connecting, and you're feeling connected there. The balls of your hands are definitely down. Your heels are heavy. They may or may not touch. Do not let your knees hyperextend, and if you keep them really bent, it helps to get that upper body, that trunk a little bit longer. Shoulders engaged. So that means they're pulling down towards your ass like always, and your heart lifting up towards your chin. Breathing full and deep. You can move as much or as little as feels good. Make sure you've got enough room. We're going to pull forward from that downward dog into that plank or that knee down plank. Bear that weight. Inhale and exhale. You can always come to table. Lift to your downward dog. Take an inhale. Pull yourself forward. Plank. Knee down plank. Exhale, downward dog. We're going to do this 2 more times. Inhale into that plank, knee down plank or table. Exhale up to that downward dog. Inhale forward to that plank, knee down plank, table. Lift to that downward dog. Once again, bring yourself forward. This time we're going to come on to the stomachs. Let yourself completely rest down. Bringing your arms wherever feel good. Breathing full and deep. But guess what, folks? You're still doing all that same stuff with your body in order to protect yourself, in order to put, no strain on that low back. I don't want you to ever strain your low back. So you're always pulling that front body up. And so right now it's hitting the floor. So you're feeling a nice massage. Letting those legs extend. Try to feel the whole top of the leg from the hip socket all the way down to the toes, the top of the knee. And then keep those arms right by your side to start with. And I just want you to inhale and lift yourself. You don't have to bring any weight into your arms. I want you to stay baby cobra and lift your whole self away from that solid base of your lower body. So feel like in cement. Don't let your legs pop up. And then let yourself release down to one ear. And then stretch away. So really engage and bear down. And then stretch. And then keep bearing down as you stretch far away to come down. And do that a couple times. Keep squeezing those elbows down by those side bodies, those obliques. Excuse me. Inhaling and exhaling. And then the next time, if you want to come up higher, if you're ready to stretch, and this is where you're, not hurting your low back. This is all in the glutes, and you are stretching from the glutes. If this is too much, come back down to that lower place. Inhaling and exhaling. Protecting yourself, coming back down in order to keep that low back nice and protected. Pressing yourself back into that table, that knee down plank or that full plank. And then once again, lifting into that downward dog. Inhale and exhale. And then take your time to either come into three-legged dog or three-legged table. That right leg lifts. I like to step my left leg forward to just give a little bit more balance. Now there's a tripod, so you're pressing evenly with both right arm and left arm. You're trying to bring that right knee up to the sky. This should not be in your low back. Inhale and exhale, and then bring that right foot up between your hands. Remember, you can come down into table to do this. You don't have to swing it through. Use blocks or a chair in order to help you at any time. You're in that runner's lunge. So if you do have that back knee lifted, bring it up, and then we're going to lift into that crescent lunge. So that back heel is lifted. Find that ball of that foot, and you are holding yourself in that lower trunk for sure, lifting that heart. So you should not feel this in your low back. Arms could be reaching up or at your heart or at your hips. If they're at your hips, they can help you square those hips to the front of your space. Make sure you're engaging the ball of the foot. Inhaling and exhaling. All right, we're going to open to that warrior two. So you're going to lift yourself and then smear down that back foot. Keep lifting that kneecap. You're always protecting yourself. And then moving into the posture wherever feels good to you. So it might take, 3 or 4 breaths as you settle in. You're doing all that same stuff. Lifting the front. Dropping the back. We're going to hinge when you feel ready into that side angle. Take your time to hinge with that right arm down and then lift that left arm. You're in charge. That right heel is lining up with that back left arch. You're trying to rotate the whole left side up. You're trying to rotate the whole right side down, and then that arm, keep that shoulder engaged. Let some big circles happen. Inhale and exhale. And then make sure you go in the opposite direction. They don't have to be fast. And then you're going to gently let that arm just come right to where your tail would be, right there between the dimples. That's where your wristwatch needs to rest. You don't have to reach all the way to this right leg. Keep that wristwatch, if you had a wristwatch on, right at that dimple, and lift yourself into that half warrior two. Flip that right palm, come into that reverse warrior two. You still don't need to reach past those dimples. Inhale and exhale. Keep awareness on your body as you lift yourself at your navel. Lengthen that front leg. Keep that left wrist on those dimples as you now keep lifting that front body as you hinge into that triangle, half triangle here. And then when you feel supported with that right arm down, let that left arm sneak out into the triangle posture, breathing full and deep, navel, ribs, chest. Exhaling fully, chest, ribs, navel. You're still lifting the right side up and you're pulling the left side down, or lifting the left side up, pulling the right side down. So the right side's down, so it's going down and then up. I know it's weird, but you can feel that, right? All right, because you're hinging over this leg. Keep lifting as you rotate back over this front leg. You probably need to bring that back left leg forward. I always need to, so I'm going to step it a couple steps to come into railroad tracks so my hip flexors line up and my navel is pointing down. My left arm stays down. Keep your heart down. Engage that right shoulder and lift that right arm. I know that feels awkward. I just want you to have that awareness, because that's really as far as you need to go. Don't strain anything unless you want to rotate your heart up into the right. Keep the navel pointing down towards the ground. That protects that low back. Inhale and exhale. And then you're going to fly a little bit. This is where you want to make sure you've got room. You're not going to go hit your head on anything. Lifting yourself into that balancing, extended, reversed, revolved triangle. Inhale and exhale. And then take your time. Don't hurt yourself. Play around. Bring that right side down to lift that left side to come into that balancing half moon. You're lifting up off that right leg. Don't hyperextend that right knee. Keep pressing through both heels, and then take your time coming through a standing split to then let those left legs come back into that runner's lunge to step yourself back into a plank, knee down plank. And if you want to move through that flow that we do sometimes, because that feels good as a reset, if you just want to press up into your downward dog and rest there, do. Make sure you come to child and rest if you want to do that. I'm going to turn around so I stay facing you. So once again, you're in charge of how you get that left leg forward. Make sure you're hydrating. So we started in that runner's lunge. You're paying attention to keeping those hips square to the short edge, your arms, or wherever is going to benefit you the most. Inhale and exhale. I love to put my hands in my back pockets. Feel in my back pockets even. Breathing full and deep. And we hung out here in this crescent lunge for another breath or two. And then we open to the warrior two. And this is where you lift and then smear. And then you might need to move your legs apart a little bit more or closer together to settle into your warrior two posture. And you're trying to find that place where your body comes down, right, where your sockets. You're trying to pull those legs into your sockets a little bit differently than we normally do. Keep pulling those kneecaps up into those thighs, and you hinge yourself when you're ready into that side angle. You're in charge of how low you come down. I love a good block here. Bring that right side up. Keep those shoulders engaged. And we did a few big circles. Breathing full and deep. And then that wrist, if you wear your watch on your right wrist, goes right to those dimples. Do not strain. The reason I don't want you to go all the way to the leg is I don't want you to strain. There's no point to strain. You do not have to strain. In fact, if you don't strain, you have more ability to go deeper. All right. Come up. Like, straining doesn't help you go deeper. Straining is just going to maybe hurt you. You're in that reverse warrior, that right palm right between those dimples. Lift that left side. Keep lifting your whole self as you straighten that, lengthen that left leg. Keep that kneecap engaged, both kneecaps engaged. And let yourself move into your triangle, half triangle. And then when you feel steady, let that right arm lift up to come into that full triangle posture, breathing full and deep. Your gaze is wherever. You're letting your breath be full and deep. And then we played around. This is where you're playing around with, you're the boss of your legs. You're coming into a revolved triangle, bringing that right foot and that left foot on railroad tracks. Leave that right arm down, and before you rotate, just pull that left side up, that left shoulder, that left arm. It feels awkward, but that is your engagement. And only then, if you keep your low back flat, twist that heart up. If you are straining that low back, I don't want you to do any damage. And then take your time. We're playing a little bit with coming into that revolved position. Inhale and exhale. So that right arm's down. You're still lifting that left. And then you're playing around with lifting yourself up off that left leg as you then rotate into that balancing half moon. Inhale and exhale. Press through those heels. Stay with your breath. Let yourself come down into that standing split. So you lift that right side as you bring yourself over that left leg. And then you're going to let those right toes, I don't think I missed anything. And then let yourself come back into your plank. Knee down plank, or just rest and then go through a flow, or just pull up to your downward dog. Inhale and exhale, and after a few breaths, make your way down to your child and rest completely. Inhaling and exhaling. Stay with your breath. Stay with how you feel. Be the observer. Try not to label things bad or good. You're trying to find that, really that place of in between where things are, and you're learning to tolerate what's going on in your head. And so we've moved through a lot of stuff. We're going to rest a little bit in that pigeon posture. You can come through downward dog. You can choose to do the left leg forward or the right leg forward. I typically, yoga teachers always start with the right. So if you want to start with the left, I've got the left foot on the left side and I walk it over to the right side. Remember, you can lift yourself up into that downward dog and then pull yourself forward. And then I let that back leg come down or come back a little bit. Remember, if you don't like this kind of pigeon, you can also do pigeon seated and on your back. There's multiple ways to do it. Breathing full and deep. Try to engage that left or whatever foot's underneath. If you started on the left, whatever foot's underneath your front body right now, or up underneath your hips. Yeah, your front body. Try to press that toe, that pinky toe into the mat. That helps to protect the knee. Stay lifted. Try not to dump down. That helps to keep it in your low back, or keep the low back from doing the work. Because you're doing the work right now in your glutes. That is where it's holding you. Your hips. Your hip girdle is what is holding you in place, and then you are stretching away from that place. A few more breaths. Inhaling and exhaling. And then take your time, move through a transition posture, whether it be into a downward dog or back into, a table. And you can also rest back in a child at any time. And then you are moving to pigeon on the other side. I'll go back this way. So now I'm going to bring that right leg forward. This time I'm going to be on a blanket. Stay with your breath. Remember, you're not judging harshly, good or bad. You are just being aware. This posture right here tends to, right, we just want to get out of it. Well, I want you to breathe deeper and go deeper for a few more breaths. Let those breaths be full and deep. Navel, ribs, chest. Exhale fully, chest, ribs, navel. And then you're going to go through a transition posture. It doesn't even have to look the same as it did on the other side. Make sure that you protect yourself. Do whatever feels good. No straining. No extra work on any joints. And then we're going to make our way onto the back. Take your time getting there, letting yourself move. First of all, with the feet down, dropping those knees side to side. Make sure you've got that pelvis pulled in that place of support. Even here, laying down, it helps to support your trunk, your low back, by pulling that girdle into place. And if you've got that girdle in place where that clock, where your navel is 12, your pubic bone is 6, and 9 or 3 are right where your hip sockets are, where your legs are. And you can even feel yourself press down. That's where you could press down into your glutes. Keep those heavy when you pick up those feet. That helps to protect that low back. And you get a nice rock and circle. And if that stuff I just described still doesn't help, then keep your feet down. Always protect. Never. I want you to have always, it hurts so good. It's not pain, it hurts so good. Inhaling and exhaling, bring those feet back down. Let those arms be out to the side. You're going to just pick up that right leg and drop it over the left leg, and you're sitting. You don't have to pull that right foot underneath and wind it around or anything. Just let it dangle out there to the side. Inhaling and exhaling. Your gaze is really wherever feels good. If you need to jiggle a little bit onto your hip, sometimes I like to do that, pressing into that left foot, letting my knees fall to the right, or to the left. Try to keep that right shoulder blade connected. So if your shoulder's coming up, maybe you don't fall so far down. Maybe your knees don't come down. Maybe you need to pull a block here. Maybe you need to keep them lifted. Inhaling and exhaling. And that's one of those things. I want you to do whatever feels good. I'm trying to get the stretch though, the twist in your middle back. All right, keep those legs together. It helps to really pull that left knee into the back of that right leg. Back on your back, feel your dimples in the mat, and then keep those knees together. Let them fall over to the right, and then keep that left shoulder connected and feel that stretch now down the outside of that left hip flexor, so you get that nice whatever this is called, stretch. It's like lost on me right now. Doesn't matter. Lift yourself up. IT band. All right, back up. It doesn't get stretched very much. All right, let that leg come down. Let that left leg come on top of the right. Same thing, other side. Protect your low back. Jiggle onto your right hip. Don't come as far over to the right if it is hurting your low back. Keep that left side connected. Keep pulling that shoulder blade down. Your chest should always be open to the sky. And then take your time. Move to the other side. Same thing, protecting that low back. And then when you feel complete, that IT band, and it also gets that nice stretch a little bit into your oblique there. I love that. All right, rock, circle, maybe happy baby would feel good right here. Some other stretch that I haven't brought you through that you want to do. If you've got a few moments to sit in meditation, I encourage you to do that. Take time or lay in relaxation. So whichever you've got time to do, maybe another 5, 6, 7 minutes, so you really incorporate all of this work that we've done deep into your muscle memory. That means it's going to stick around for a little bit longer, and you'll be able to just use it, until you're 90. So thank you so much for joining me. Namaste. Take care of yourself. Bye.